Welcome to BZ's favorite series, Precon Power-Ups.
This time we're upgrading the Undead Unleashed Zombie Precon for only $50.
You. I'm your host, Double Thumb Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Single Thumb BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you a daily content. Now, before we get into what a Precon Power-Up is, we're going to talk about the TCG player link in the description. Go to the link, buy the cards that you normally would buy anyway, because I know you buy Magic cards. Check out, and then once you're done with that, we get a kickback on the order, courtesy of TCG player, free for you.
And if you want to help us celebrate 50K subscribers, which is on the horizon, there's a P.O. box in the description below. We're going to be opening everything sent to us by you guys on not a live, but a sort of live video that's pre-recorded.
It'll be live for us. And you don't have to send us, we're not asking for gifts, or just send us silly stuff that you think is cool. Memes. Mess around with us. Just don't do anything weird, obviously.
Yeah. PG channel.
Weird, yes, actually. Non-PG, no.
Yes. So let's hop into this. What is a Precon Power-Up, BZ? Today, why don't you tell them what it is?
I never tell them what it is. It's when we take the Precon. You're going to pay, anywhere from $30 to $40 for this thing. We're going to put $50 into the upgrades, cut a bunch of crap, add a bunch of awesome stuff, and then you have a solid deck capable of competing at most power levels, and it's going to be great.
Yes. So for this one, we got the Undead Unleashed. Undead Unleashed. I knew it was you could not think of the two words. So, who is our commander? Let's read them so we can figure out what this deck is doing at all.
Wilhelt, the Rock Cleaver, 2 blue-black for a 3/3 zombie warrior. Whenever another zombie you control dies, if it didn't have Decayed, you get a 2/2 with Decayed. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a zombie. If you do, draw a card. This commander's really good. Every single zombie that dies without Decayed turns into a 2/2 zombie with Decayed, and it draws a card every turn.
Yes. So this deck's game plan, assemble a full board of zombies and filter them into new zombies with Wilhelt to gain a ton of advantage.
And once we do that, it's going to be easy to win because we're going to use our massive stack of zombies to attack for lethal or assemble an infinite loop of zombies with Wilhelt to drain out everyone.
Can you tell the theme of this deck is actually zombie?
Zombie tribal.
Yeah, believe it or not.
First thing, as always, we got to do is cut the cards that make 0 sense, have 0 power, or just don't belong in the deck at all. And there's only a couple ones. I think these two Precons, the human one, which we already did, and this zombie one, they were super focused. There was less cards than usual that are out in left field.
Yeah, extremely focused, which is awesome for these Precons. What you want to see, they don't need to be super powerful. Being focused, chef's kiss.
It just means it's going to play like a zombie tribal deck. It's not going to play like half of a zombie deck and then half of a clue deck or something.
Yeah, the first card that we cut that doesn't make any sense to this game plan, Shadowkin. This is a weird clone. It mills you that sort of fits with our game plan. Not a zombie. Sure, can copy zombies. Not interested. Eater of Hope. Overcosted nonsense. Curse of Unbinding, overcosted nonsense.
And Undead Alchemist is a mill card. It says zombie, it says zombies. It's just nowhere near where this zombies deck is. Maybe some zombie deck, but not this one.
I just don't think this card's very good. I think that you remove all the damage you're going to be doing and turning it into milling is overall going to be bad because most players are able to take advantage of the graveyard in some way, meaning this is a net negative. So no, I think Undead Alchemist is a very bad card overall.
Yeah, it changes from you deal combat damage to you help draw them cards when you hit them. I don't want to do that. But we get to add cards that do fit the game plan, some of the best high synergy monsters. The first one is Death Tyrant. It's not a zombie, but it comes back from the graveyard. We have some mill. And if a creature dies in combat, if it's tangoing, it dies, you get a zombie.
On top of that, the best part about this card is your decayed zombies die in combat. They die in combat. They're still attacking. It's the end of combat. Those decayed zombies died into brand new zombies. So awesome for this deck.
And the brand new zombies die into decayed zombies. It never ends.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such an amazing. This is an overcosted card that I wouldn't put in most decks. The synergy with this deck is just through the roof.
So good. There's also Carrion Feeder, Visceraseer, and Phyrexian Ghoul. 3 free sack outlets, 2 of which are zombies, 1 of which is really efficient. They're going to be really useful when we're trying to generate a bunch of zombies in one turn, get a bunch of dice triggers, sacrifice a whole board, whatever.
If you want another free stack outlets, it's a zombie, but so you want to Viscerous here, that's a vampire. I want a zombie. There's also an Nantu quest, which is exactly Phyrexian Ghoul, so you can do that.
Right, you can mix and match. But we're playing Viscerous here because it's better. Grim Horror Specs, we already had Midnight Raper in, which is a zombie. Grim Horror Specs, not a zombie, but with the above 3 cards, and the fact that we're going to have so much zombies flying from every zone in the game, we're going to need this.
Yeah, exactly. Grim Horror, there's no reason not to just put Grim Horror Specs in, even though it's not a zombie. Midnight Reaper is going to be one of the best cards in their deck, so Grim Horror Specs obviously going to be one of the best cards in the deck, but slightly worse.
Right. Stronghold Assassin is a nice sack outlet, but it's only once per turn. but you just attrition. You sack a creature, destroy a non-black creature. It's going to be totally fine, and it's going to turn decayed zombies into nothing or regular tokens into decayed tokens.
Yeah. Liliana's standard bearer, threw him with flash. Great. It's a zombie, and for all the creatures that died this turn, you draw a card. What's really awesome about this is you don't lose any life, and you can just, if you build up an army of 3 or 4 decayed guys, attack with them, and then play this. Dang, that's a lot of value really quick.
This card could be the best card in the deck, like on a certain good explosive turn. Sack 4 regular tokens, get 4 decay tokens, sack 4 decay tokens, play this, sack it with response to the trigger, draw 9 cards. Yeah. That is so doable.
Yeah, one of the most medium cards in the deck, though, but it provides with 2 zombie bodies. Lazatep Reaver, it makes 2 zombie bodies.
You just need the early, cheap ways to just get multiple bodies out, even if you don't have like one of the more expensive payoffs. It's not busted, but it is needed.
Yeah. Fallen Shinobi, oh my god, this card is a zombie. It's a ninja. This card is amazingly good and strong. And you have decay tokens. You send those decay tokens in. One doesn't get blocked. Put it back in my hand. Yeah, sure, it's gone forever. But you get hit for 5 and I get that trigger. Fallen Shinobi's trigger is real strong if you've never had it happen.
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't synergize much other than being a zombie, but the decay tokens actually just tie it all together and make it amazing. It's also a card that doesn't tie in with anything. It's Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
It's a zombie. What are you talking about?
It's like the best zombie. That's about it. It's just going to win you games.
Yeah, I mean, the card's amazing. There's no reason. If you're playing a zombie deck, you would be, I said this in the last video too, you'd be hard-pressed to convince me you don't need this in your deck.
You have to find a reason not to play it. Yeah. Like, I don't want to because it's lame.
Yeah, it's that good.
Okay, we cut most of the chaff out, and we added the cards that really fit the game plan, but now we got to upgrade existing cards. They're not terrible. They're not unplayable. They're just worse versions of what we're going to add.
Yeah, like Stitcher Geralf. It's just not a zombie himself, and his ability's cool and decent, but again, he's not a zombie himself, so he can get out of here.
Well, it's way too much effort to make we have a big zombie, we have a 7/7. What are we supposed to do with that? We want little zombies.
Yeah, and it has the same problem of milling every player. Again, players work with their graveyards. Milling them will generally help them.
Yes, Forgotten Creation.
This card sucks.
It's not about what this deck is. We don't want to. It's not really. It doesn't matter that it's a zombie. It wants to be in some deck that cares about discarding a bunch. Like what's that? Riel maybe. Like that deck. We're not doing that. Hour of Eternity, I think it's terrible. Havengul Runebinder, too slow. Yeah, just too slow.
Yeah, cool cards. Just they're not quite what this deck is trying to do. Now we would have added the Stitcher Supplier to this deck, but it's $6 for an uncommon. So
yeah, ridiculous.
Instead of that, here's something a little worse. Mire Trident. It mills you 2. It's a zombie. Early play that you can sack to will help when the time comes.
Totally. Violent Tumor is a zombie that entombs something. I think it only makes creatures, but that's totally fine. This card's really good. Master of Death. The 3/1 that just wants you to kill it or discard it or sacrifice it over and over and over. It's just going to keep coming back, and it surveils too. Put some more dudes in the graveyard.
Yeah, I really like this card. I think it's a little overcosted for what it does, but the fact that you can just keep getting it back is really strong. If you have other ways to put in your graveyard, like if you discard it by any chance,
you could Violent Tumor it if you want.
You can Violent Tumor it, and then you just put it back in your hand for only 1 life. I really like this card. It's a great thing to be sacking at your end step every single turn.
Yeah, with Wilheld. Also, the card you might want to Violent Tomb, Scourge of Neltoth. It's a zombie dragon, and it comes back for just 2 black mana and sacrificing one of several of the many tokens you'll already have lying around. It's just a 2-mana 6/6 that never dies.
Yeah, exactly. So you just get this big giant 6/6 that comes back. It's a sack outlet also if you need it to be, which sometimes you will want it to be.
Totally.
Yeah, Phyrexian Delver is a zombie, and guess what? You won't believe this. It actually reanimates, which actually works with our graveyard stuff like Violent Tumor.
Yeah, and then we have Dread Return, which can be flashback if you mill it or search for it or whatever. It ends up in the graveyard. 2 reanimates for 4 mana. One's free.
Yeah, like the Scourge of Neltoth and the Dread Return both need sacrifice fodder. This deck is going to have sacrifice fodder coming out of its butt because, seriously, there's so many decayed zombies laying around, and they're worthless. They're so worthless, we're going to want to sacrifice them.
Yeah, this is why we have stuff like Lazatep Reaver, where it's 2 bodies that die into 2 more bodies, and we'll have plenty of things that want to sacrifice them.
Next, we got zombie payoffs, things that synergize, work with the fact that our deck is zombies. Endless Ranks of the Dead. This card is too slow, in my opinion. I don't think I would ever play it. Liliana's Mastery is 6 power for 5 mana, which I don't think is very good. And it's an Anthem in an enchantment slot. I'm not interested in this card. I just want a zombie in this slot.
Yeah, we can sum up Liliana's Mastery, Cemetery Reaper, Tomb Tyrant, and Lord of the Accursed, and Liliana's Devotee all at the same time, because granting +1/+1 is not enough to make a good tribal card. And they all have little tiny bonuses. They just don't meet the threshold for a card that I would be willing to play. And what about Eternal Skylord and Gleaming Overseer?
Yeah, these are just cards that give your zombie tokens some bonuses. These aren't good enough. I just don't see it. I understand the idea of these cards and what they were going for. They just don't seem to reach the threshold for the power level we think this deck can get to.
Yeah, Gleaming Overseer is okay. Eternal Skylord is just too expensive for 2 bodies. And we replaced them with cards that actually work. Vengeful Dead says whenever a zombie dies, each player loses a life. Now we're talking. That's going to be some of the stuff we want to play.
Yeah, Plague Belcher as well. Both of those are the same. They're basically the same thing where they just, when zombies die, players are losing life. We definitely want as many of those as we can get, and these are the 2 we can get. So.
Yeah, Noxious School is just a messed up card. I'm so surprised this is like a budget card at all. It's a one-sided board wipe pretty much every turn for as long as it's in play. I don't know how your opponents are supposed to beat that if they don't kill this.
Yeah, Noxious School is great. It's just gonna end up literally if you have one big turn wiping the board, and with this deck we can obviously do that with Sack Outlets and Will Help. That's gonna happen a lot.
Lazotep Reaver, sack, trigger, sack the decay token, sack the decay token. You just Mizium Mortars for 0 mana.
Yeah, and Wand of Orcus, I'm a big fan of that in this deck. You can even just put it on some small little 2/2 Decayed. Now when it attacks, it has Death Touch. And if they don't block it, you get 2 more zombies that'll fall apart into Decay tokens. So much cool stuff with this deck. I think Wand of Orcus, it is expensive. 3 mana to play, 3 mana to equip, that's a lot. Then
you got to hit.
That's 6 mana to go through. But the fact that it grants your zombies Death Touch,
pretty solid. Last one is Pact of the Serpent. I hope nobody's forgetting about this card because it's an amazing tribal staple. It's 3 mana, draw X, lose X, where X is the number of the tribe. That's going to be draw 6 every time.
Yeah.
This card's really, really good.
Yeah, Pact of Serpent, solid in any black tribal deck. This one specifically, where we're going to be swarming the board, it's going to be extra crazy.
So surprised this is 5 cents. The last cards we're replacing are some ramp cards and some removal cards. We could start with Charcoal and Sky Diamonds. They're fine. They're just bad. They're Ds. They're not going to be unplayable, but we're never going to leave them in a deck.
Yeah, we're just not super interested in enter the battlefield tapped rocks. Overall, we can do better than that. We also removed Syphon Flesh. This is a terrible removal spell. Go for the throat. Not quite
terrible.
Good. Yeah,
I'm fine with calling it terrible.
Terrible, not good for commander. Aetherspouts, terrible.
Don't give them a choice.
This is just not. These aren't the cards you want to be playing overall. Very bad. And then two of the very overcosted reanimation targets. Butcher of Malakir. Sorry, I'm not even close to interested in Butcher of Malakir. That is 7 mana, and it's a vampire, not a zombie. No, thank you. An Overseer of the Damned. He's not a zombie. He's a demon. Makes zombies. Still way too overcosted.
7 mana for a chunky flyer and a token. No, and a murder. We have Reality Shift, Foil. Those cards are amazing. Amphi Mutineer, which is not a zombie but has graveyard abilities. Necromantic Selection, Board Wipe, makes a zombie, steals something. Necrotic Hex, Board Wipe, makes 6 zombies.
Yeah, all of these removal spells are so much better than the ones we took out. The ones we took out were real bad.
Horrendous.
Really bad. I don't ever want to have to play Syphon Flesh, Go for the Throat, Aetherspouts, Butcher of Malakir, and Overseer. I don't think those should go in almost any commander deck, especially where you're not limited with a really tight budget.
Totally. I think Aetherspouts is probably the best one, but it's still a trap card of wait till they're attacking you, hold up 5 mana, and then give them a choice of where the cards go? No,
thank you. Yeah, absolutely not even close to something we want to be doing.
How about the win cons?
Well, we added in the win con from our short. We added Poppet Stitcher to this deck. So if we have Poppet Stitcher, will help. All we got to do is get Poppet Stitcher to flip over by having 3 of any type of tokens on our upkeep. He flips over, he takes all the abilities away from our tokens. Wait a minute, those are zombie tokens with decay. So now if we sack them while Will Help's out, we'll get another one.
Without decay.
And you can keep doing that over and over again. Add in one of the drainers, the Plague Belcher and Vengeful Dead that we said earlier.
Diagraph Captain.
Plus this one already had Diagraph Captain in it. Any one of those 3, and you just have a 4-card win.
Yep, it's a free sack outlet, Poppet Factory, a drain card, it will help, and you just win. And there's also cards like Undead Augur that say whenever a zombie dies, you draw a card, lose life. Draw until you find it, then play it and win anyway.
Yeah, the only card that is specific to this combo is Poppet Stitcher because Will Help's in your command zone.
Yep.
Drainers there's 3 of, and free sack outlets there's 3 or 4 of.
Right, so it's very easy to assemble. And there's another combo that I wish they would have included, but I get why they didn't. Free sack outlet, we already mentioned those. Rooftop Storm, which is already in the deck, love it. And our boy, Gravecrawler, the number 1 Rooftop Storm offender. You cast it for free if you have a zombie. So if you sack it, whatever effect you get when it gets sacrificed goes infinite because you just cast it for free every single time. All you need is 1 zombie.
You do need the drainer again. You need something. You do need some sort of drain effect to take advantage of this because casting it infinitely isn't useful.
I mean, it's trivial. You can cast it infinitely, sack it. Let's say there's so many cards we already talked about Undead Augur, but if you have Liliana Standard Bearer, you go, how many cards in my deck? Okay, I'll sack it that many times, draw my whole deck, and then win.
Yeah, I mean, well, Will Health also, side note, Will Health pays us off with infinite decay tokens.
Yeah.
Forcing the board to either be wiped or you win.
Right. I mean, that's already good, and that's like the worst version.
All right, we're the Nitpicking Nerds. You know we have to upgrade the lands. We cannot leave the lands alone. They're a little too weak in these.
Yeah.
We cut Mortuary Mire, which I think is an awful land, and we cut Unclaimed Territory, which I think is not even close to playable in Commander.
No, it's worse than Mortuary Mire.
Yeah, I think those cards are both very bad. We also cut 4 Swamps, 2 Islands, 4 Hagar Mauling, and Malakir Rebirth, both awesome MDFC lands where I'm super high on MDFCs. We talk about them all the time. They're going to go in every single budget precon we ever do until they're
$5, and then we can say, instead of adding them, we can say, I told you so.
Yeah. High market, free sack outlet in a land slot. Nice. I mean, that's definitely worth having. Port of Car
This one's sweet.
Foul. This lets you mill a couple, you pay 6, mill some cards, and then you get to reanimate something in a land slot. That's awesome.
It's nice to have, especially when we can afford the tap land. We're not a busted deck. We're just a really good deck. And we can say, hey, I have a reanimation spell in my land at instant speed. We can go find something awesome. Barren Moor and Lonely Sandbar round out the lands. I just felt a little uncomfortable having so many basics in this friggin' deck. So I'd rather have 2 cyclers than 2 actually, a basics number 14 and 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah, agreed. So Barren Moor and Lonely Sandbar, just, something in
Totally
there to
fine.
spice up the mana base a little bit.
Yes. And for stats, the budget was $50. How many dollars did we spend?
50. Damn, we are very good.
Exactly right. We're so good. The average mana value of this deck, the average original average mana value of this deck was 3.97. Ugh, too expensive. 3.5 I always have in my head as like normal to good. Like you're in the clear. But once you get to like 4, I feel like you're a little too high. And then you see sometimes like 4.5 where you just want to throw up in your mouth. But we brought down a little bit to 3.62. So we're getting closer to normal. And some of the bigger cards can just get thrown in the graveyard to be reanimated.
Yeah, we also, if you want to, we're working on a non-budget version of this for an article we're working on, and that deck's CMC is much lower.
That deck is much more nutty, too.
Yeah, it is very, very good. But, regardless of any of that, that is the end of this video. Special shout-outs to every single one of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. And speaking of our patrons, let's do our shout-outs for them.
Got to shout out Matt Potts for being an awesome patron.
Yeah, and you also got to shout out our boy, Ben Kokic.
And Phil A.
Yeah,
Also Phil A.
Phil A. Can't forget Phil A.
Big one, Phil A.
Richard Magnum II. Now that is a made-up name if I've ever heard one. And if that's your real name, you, sir, are a badass.
That's awesome. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Sean Yaumans. 100% a patron of
Hold
ours.
on. What about Jordan Stouch? Strouch. Yeah, I said it right the first time.
Yeah, I
Shut
knew
up.
that from memory because Jordan Strouch is an awesome patron of us. Ryan Patrick, another awesome patron.
Yeah, and Furlock, who is definitely not a new patron, but definitely on this list of people getting a shout out. Thanks, Furlock.
I don't know what happened, but you got another shout out.
I don't know either because you've been here forever.
Yeah. Oh, another hopefully made up name. It's Mickey Paris. That one's great. It's got some nice punch to it.
That sounds like a real name, Mickey Paris.
It just sounds like a really cool made up name. I don't know.
And then we got Skitterer, which is definitely not a real name.
That's not even, there's no last name. And Max Alcy is the last one. Except for Hunter Nadu.
And Craig Johnson.
And Anna Castro.
Yeah, who doesn't get their name said cool because Beezy's a jerk.
No French accents.
No French accent here. So if you want your name said like that, head over to patreon.com, or you become a member on YouTube by clicking the little member
join
button. Click that join button, become a member there, and you'll also can get a shout out.
I believe it's the Gravy God tier, which allows a shout out, a personalized shout out. So with that all aside, there's a TCG player link in the description. This has been the longest end of video thing ever.
It's really not that long for them.
Click the link, buy the cards, check out. We get a kickback on the order. It's great for everybody. Perfect.
BZ is not taking into consideration that there are cuts, and this is probably less than a minute.
It's probably like 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes for us, so there's no way it's 5 minutes for you.
No. It's very long.
We also have a Discord where I use the @everyone button whenever I feel like it. So if you want to head over there, you can do that.
Yeah, if you want to see Joe be combative and me be reasonable, you can head over to the Discord.
I certainly am combative sometimes.
I certainly am reasonable always.
That's false. I believe BZ was playing earlier and his spacebar was breaking because he was so happy.
I was very happy. Very reasonable.
Tidbit.
I don't know. What is it?
Tidbit. Oh, you said we were going to talk about Moonsilver Key's back.
The newest card in the Nitpicking Nerds deck, Moonsilver Key. We just posted a short this morning, which will be yesterday for you tomorrow. I don't think the card's good. I'm gonna make my point right now, and then Joe can do whatever he wants. I think Moonsilver Key is a bad card that will see play and be good in a very small percentage of niche artifact heavy decks, and fetching Soul Ring with it is a trap. Cheers.
Yeah. So I just think the easiest way to look at this is every single card you will be fetching. So this is narrow. We already know this is saying narrow card. So it can only get a very select few cards. You can list out probably the 10. There's 10 like real targets for it.
Right.
Every single one of those 10 real targets, when you add that 3 mana, are terrible.
Way worse.
They're or at minimum way worse. Like Soul Ring is a trap. Everyone's saying Soul Ring. This is 4 mana for a rock that tests for 2. That's Golem's Eye. That is not a playable Magic card.
Even in installments, no one plays that card. I just don't get it. Like tutoring up a powerful card is good, but when you spend extra mana to tutor up the powerful card, you have now negated the power of said card. 4 mana for Soul Ring is still 4 mana for Soul Ring. Just like if I play Diabolic Tutor to go get, let's say Soul Ring, it doesn't mean Soul Ring's going to get me out of the hole I just dug myself. I spent too much mana on that.
If you're playing 3 mana for a tutor, it better not have very many restrictions. Or if it does, it better be very vital to your deck, which means that Moonsilver Key better be a key part of your deck. Because if it's not, I would not play it.
Right. We could look at like Planar Bridge. That goes and gets Gaia's Cradle. And Gaia's Cradle can pay you back over 2 turns and go mana positive. But does that mean that I'm now fetching Gaia's Cradle as a reason Planar Bridge is like really good in a lot of decks? Like, no, that's just not. It's not how it works. It's a feature. It's not like the reason the card is so good. Also, the card's not very good.
Yeah, 3 mana, extremely narrow tutors that are not fetching cards essential to your deck. There you go. I mean those aren't ever going to be good. They're just, if you use those rules, it's never going to be good. And we know this has homes. It has homes. It has good homes, and it's going to be good in like your
Fiddlebender, Tashar, and Ozlek. I get it, and Kozilek. Like I got it. We never said it was literally unplayable. We said it was bad, and it'll have homes in some niche decks.
Yes, but that is our video, and that's our video about Moonsilver Key. Peace out.
If you liked it.